Topic is security and how does it relate to YouTube and your online security in general. So, can you tell us about the common misconceptions or common mistakes that people make with security, passwords, that type of thing online?
Um, well, one of the most frequent mistakes that I see is poor password configuration. And what I mean by that is, passwords that are on the weaker side. Sure, that's a longer password that is harder to guess in the event of some sort of exposure. Um, so you want to make sure it's long password. You want to make sure that it is alphanumeric, a combination of letters and numbers. And that's one thing that I would say that is a good thing to start off with. Just longer, stronger password. So password configuration and setup is one of the biggest misconceptions that I see a lot of people have because they just think that, you know, I don't really have to think too much about it. You don't want to include personal information like a family name or your kid's
Mm,
name or a birth date or anything like that.
mhm,
Um, in addition to that, another misconception that I see is, just people falling for things that they see online that turn out to be scams or phishing attempts. Uh,
mm.
clicking on that malicious link,
In
that
the
shady
email.
link that came from someone you didn't know that's in an email. Yes, exactly. Something
Mhm.
in an email, something in a text. Um, those are things you want to watch out for, particularly if it's coming from a source that you don't know, or even in some cases, a source that you think is someone you know. So you always want to verify everything before taking further steps. Something that's unsolicited, something that looks like it's coming from a bank, for example, and they're asking you for your login information or
Oh,
anything
yeah.
requesting details.
If you can elaborate on that now. I know banks, those kind of emails that supposedly come from banks, those phishing emails. Banks, from what I understand, will never email you anything to say, "Hey, your account's been compromised," or "Give us your password," or that type of thing. This did you find that a lot of people in general, not just business owners, but new, just regular citizens fall for these kind of things? And is there any way to recover from that?
It is something that happens. It does occur. And aside from just doing your standard day to day throughout every day of the year, this part of the year becomes a little bit more of a time period where you want to be more watchful and more mindful. Um, when people are traveling and doing more shopping and more information is just being proliferated online.
These give off a wireless signal, of course, in order for you to, you can lock your car and unlock it from a far distance. A very simple piece of technology. It's just a little pouch, but inside has some protective material. I'm not sure if the camera can actually pick that up. It's some kind of a gray reflective material, but what it does, you put your key fob inside of it, or you can even put your credit cards and that type of thing inside the pouch. Have you ever heard of these, and what's your opinion on them? Do you think they're worth the money? Do you think everyone should have something like this?
I think they are. Um, and if you are going to get something like that, you definitely want to go with the more expensive variety um, because if you're using something like that and the edges are open or exposed, in other words,
Mm,
if it's not like a solid sheath inside that pouch or the card holder that you've got, um,
yeah.
those open sides and those open parts of that construction are still like open, to
Uh,
some exposure. So if
yeah.
you get one, you want to take a look at it. You want one that's high quality and one that has a 360 enclosure, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
But I do
Okay.
think that those are a good investment, particularly if you are out and about or certainly when you're traveling as well.
I see. Okay. So I did the right thing. I wasn't just paranoid.
No, not at all. Not at all.
Okay. Now I want to ask you something else. Now I have another set of devices. These are more. I mean, they're also hardware, but I'm not sure if the camera's going to pick these up as well. These are UB keys, I believe they're called. So these are two separate YubiKeys. One is actually for my client, so I can actually, let me just bring a little closer here. One is for my client. I can actually use this to log into some of his accounts, like his YouTube channels or that type of thing, or other sensitive information or accounts online. And one is, and I have a different one. One is for me, for my YouTube channel and other accounts online. So without this, I cannot. Nobody can access my YouTube channel or other accounts that I can set up with these. So, um, what do you think about these? Do you think I should get actually more than one for each account, or do you think they are 100%? They're not too expensive? Do you think there are some that are better quality than others, or they just just get one that does the job basically?
Um, there's a number of brands out there. If you are thinking of investing in one of those, um, which is essentially like called a hardware key. I think there's some other names that people use, but um, there's a few good brands, and I would look the ones that you're considering up and just do a compare and contrast of the ones that you are considering. YubiKey is a good recommendation if you are looking. They've got like a few different models, a few different form factors, um, including the one that I think that you just held up, which is like a USB form, um, and then some smaller ones as well. But it's a good
Mm,
investment because if you've got multiple devices, for example, and you want to make sure that you're protecting your information, um, it adds a layer of validation and additional security and encryption for your login information. In
okay,
the
so you
sense
don't just.
that
Mhm.
in the sense that when you're logging in, you know, you're providing a username, an email address, your password, and a code that is generated, a time-sensitive code that expires after a certain time. So if someone, say someone gets a hold of your credentials and your information and they're trying to log into your account, even though they have your username or email address and password, if they don't have that hardware key, they still can't access your information. Um, so this is that additional layer of protection and security that a hardware key like a YubiKey or any of the other hardware keys out there provide. And so it's definitely a good investment.
Okay, so you definitely don't think this is only for business owners. Everyone should actually have one of these, at least one or two, right?
For sure. For sure. If you've got more than one
Mhm.
device, you may want to invest in a secondary one for that other device so that you have that separation. Um, and it's certainly not specific to personal users or business users. I
Okay,
think in the case of a lot of businesses, certainly larger corporations, that's part of their arsenal in terms of login credentials. But for work purposes or personal, it's definitely a good investment.
okay. What about when you're in public and you're using, say, a public Wi-Fi, like maybe in a coffee shop, McDonald's, or airports? What are the major risks there? What kind of activities should you and should you not be doing when you're on a public Wi-Fi?
Well, public Wi-Fi is an issue because usually public wireless networks are unsecure and unencrypted. Uh, so really, in theory, you want to avoid or limit your use of public Wi-Fi. And you know, this could be like a public Wi-Fi network in a restaurant or a coffee shop or in a hotel or in an airport. Um, or any area that allows that provides free Wi-Fi as part of their service. You want to be mindful of those, and you want to avoid those, or at least at the bare minimum, limit the things that you're accessing when you're on that the wireless network. So, say for example, you're at your local coffee shop and you have the information so that you can connect up to the internet through that Wi-Fi connection. There could be another cloned instance of that same Wi-Fi network in the area with the same name or a very similar name. So, say you're trying to connect and you see these two instances, it's hard for you to verify which one is the valid and official connection in some cases. So you want to be mindful of that because the potential of connecting to an alternate malicious connection is there. And that's one of the reasons you want to avoid public Wi-Fi for sure, because of the security risks involved. So if you must use it, don't log it, don't log into things like your banking or financial information or personal records, like medical records or things like that. Keep those things to a minimum because of that exposure. Because again, anyone who's on that same network can monitor and grab your information either by uh, some remote monitoring situation or because they've got some tool or some device which is reaching out and grabbing bits of your data that is grabbing information in transit.
Mm,
So when you're connecting to your account, there's someone in between you and the destination that you're trying to connect to, and they're grabbing information as the session is communicating back and forth.
got
And
you.
if there's an intermediary there, then they're pulling all the same information that you are inputting and or receiving because they are the link in the chain. Uh, so that's kind of another reason why you want to be careful when you are using a wireless public network.
Prevent anyone from kind of spying on your Wi-Fi activity, like the traffic going back and forth. Is maybe just to use your cell phone data. Maybe just disable your Wi-Fi and then maybe use just your cell phone data. Would that be one way? Or if so, are there any other ways?
Um, that's at least one way to avoid it. If you've got
Mm,
your own personal connection through your cell provider, because you've got like a mobile hotspot enabled through your cell service, that's at least um, something that is specific to you, something that you know for sure is your own and not like some random cloned router that's in the area. Um, it's yours, and you know that at least you're going through some channels that are specific to you that you can confirm because you are aware because it's connected to your cell service. You can also use something like a mobile hotspot. I know there are devices out there that allow you to carry a mobile hotspot that's pocket size. You can carry it in your bag or in your coat pocket, in your laptop case. Um, a mobile hotspot is beneficial because it also provides you with a personal security connection that is separate from that public Wi-Fi instance. So those are two good alternatives.
interesting. So you have two choices. You can go the advanced route of getting that extra equipment, or you can just go the more basic route for some folks. They'll just use their cell phone data, I guess. Okay. And
That,
I'm
or
told that.
in addition to that, you could also
Mhm.
use like a VPN connection, which is another alternate way, at least an alternate like portal that you could connect up through
That'd be a
using a VPN.
software option, I guess, right?
Right, right. You could use like a VPN software that you could load on your phone, for example. And if you are logging into like a wireless network, you log
Mhm.
in through that connection, and it's kind of like it reroutes the connection that you're accessing.
Mhm. Okay.
So it's
Yeah.
not a direct link, one to one.
Where can people reach out to you online? Do you have a school community, YouTube channel? What is it called?
If you search Megablox Guild Guild, um, then there should be like some searchable items that come up.